You're on.
I'll be good. Thank you. And let's open the Northampton County Council meeting of January 7th. I've asked Tara Zirinsky to lead us in the pledge. If we could do that.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America. For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, what's up?
Wow. Donated the meeting piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Zumbo, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Kuzic,
Present.
Mrs. Ferraro, Mr. Giovanni,
Present.
Mr. Heckman,
Present.
Mr. Lott,
Present.
Mr. McGee,
Here.
Mr. Myers,
Present.
Ms. Fargo Hefner,
Present.
Ms. Zirinsky,
Present.
all present except Mrs. Ferraro.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask for approval of the minutes. We have two separate ones. I need a motion to approve the minutes of December 17th, 2020 and January 4th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
May I have a voice acclamation to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak under courtesy of the floor?
If you're on the Zoom platform, please raise your hand, or if you are calling in over the phone, you can hit *9. *9 or the hand raise in Zoom. You don't have any.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McClure, County Executive Report. Do you have a report for us this evening?
Yep, there he is.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to open tonight's County Executive Report with some reflections upon the chaos that we saw in the Capitol yesterday, caused by domestic enemies of the United States of America. I think it's important for us to reflect upon the miracle of the Constitution of the United States of America, adopted in 1787. And yesterday, I called upon all of us of goodwill who are not enemies of the United States of America, domestic enemies of the United States of America, to renew our commitment to those promises, both in the Declaration of Independence and in the Constitution of the United States of America, and understand that this is a resilient government, that we are fortunate to live in a federal republic who democratically elects its representatives. And that republic holds tonight. And it holds because our institutions are resilient, and it holds because the vast majority of our people still believe, as I do, in the promise of the Philadelphia experiment. I would say to you, I'm always talking about handling our business in our own little corner of the world. And while all of that madness was unfolding yesterday, we were still here doing the business of the people of Northampton County, and we will continue to. We will be here, the Republic will stand, and so will your county, and we'll continue to do the work for you. Tonight's County Executive Report is going to be, I think, continuing on the line of the somber tones of the unfortunate events that unfolded yesterday. As you know, we have all been talking about the necessity for vaccination, that vaccinations will save lives and livelihoods. I think we all agree on that. And during the pandemic, during 2020, at one point in Northampton County, 85% of the people who were dying lived in long-term care facilities before they passed away of COVID-19. So it's axiomatic that to get control of COVID-19 in the community at large, we needed to get our employees and our residents of Graysdale vaccinated. And so we have been terribly aggressive from the very beginning of the pandemic to fight to crush the virus. We were the first long-term care facility to close to visitors and volunteers. Very painful for us, very painful for our residents, but we did it to try and prevent the virus from coming into our building. We were the very first long-term care facility in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, to my knowledge, to have a negative pressure area so that our folks who were infected with COVID-19 could go to that floor and be removed from the rest of the population so we could slow the infection throughout the facility. As you know, we're very aggressive in attempting to control the infection in Graysdale, specifically with universal mask wearing. And at this juncture, I want to tell you that Ms. Stewart-King, who's here with us tonight, and I believe that our employees have done a tremendous job of infection control at Graysdale Nursing Home. Our employees deserve a tremendous amount of credit for what they've done at Graysdale Nursing Home throughout 2020 and into the beginning of 2021, although after the Christmas holiday, so there are some infections popping there, so we need to really keep an eye on that. But they've done, our employees deserve all of the kudos that we can offer them, all the congratulations that we can give to them for infection control at Graysdale. And we are eternally grateful to them for that. Additionally, I want to commend all of the employees at Graysdale who came to work in 2020. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot say it enough. You are, for those employees who came to Graysdale in 2020 to work their shifts and to work more shifts and who got held over and who had to work overtime, thank you. Your residents thank you. And on behalf of the people of Northampton County, we know you are heroes. I also want to address, council, before I start talking a little bit more about the vaccinations, this notion that we aren't hiring at Graysdale because where there's a plan to sell it. That could not be further from the truth. I want to be clear, and I know there are Graysdale employees on this Zoom call right now. I want you to go back tomorrow and say, as long as Lamont McClure is county executive, Graysdale will be county owned. No one did more from the perspective of an elected official to save Graysdale from being privatized than I did. And it is my solemn duty and moral obligation to keep Graysdale county owned. So anyone who says that, it's not true. Anyone who says that, you're spreading a falsehood. So please don't do it. What I want you to do is go back tomorrow or the next time you have a shift and tell folks when you hear that, that it's just absolutely not true. Now, with respect to vaccinations, we had hoped at this juncture more employees at Graysdale would be vaccinated. That's why we, again, were a leader in offering the $750 incentive. But unfortunately, at this juncture, and I want to be precise in my numbers.
Did we lose him?
No, I went to get my numbers. Out of the pardon me for my absence, as I organize my notes, out of the approximately 650 employees, as you know, that fluctuates, we have 183 people who work at Graysdale. Now, this includes contractors as well, but only 144 county employees at this time after 2 sessions with CVS Pharmacy who have been vaccinated. This is deeply, deeply disappointing to me, because vaccinations will save lives and livelihoods. And I implore everyone who works there, please, please, please get a vaccination. Your residents will be protected. You'll be protected and your families will be protected. So if my math's right, that's about 22%. Now I remain hopeful because we have more sessions. We have 2 more sessions in the first round scheduled with CVS. So we'll probably get a bunch more people vaccinated then, and a bunch more employees. And remember, there's that $750 incentive to go and do that. So please, 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 we need to get that number up. You know, a lot of folks talk about they want the freedom not to wear their mask. They want their local restaurant open. They want to be able to go there. They want to be able to go to their local corner bar. The way to do that is get the virus under control in long-term care facilities. And we need to handle our business in our own little corner of the world. And the way to do that is to get folks vaccinated at Graysdale. Now, I have some good news. After 2 sessions, we have 145 residents who have had their first vaccination with CVS at Graysdale. And that is really good news. We are seeing thus far very little resistance from the residents, their families, and guardians to being vaccinated. And that is very good news. We believe when we are finally finished with the CVS clinics that virtually every resident who wants a vaccination will be vaccinated at Graysdale. So that's huge news. And I couldn't be more happy with that result. Council, in December of last year, a few weeks ago, we were the victims of a crime. We were the victims of a brazen burglary in our Parks garage. The Pennsylvania State Police and Upper Nazareth Township Police, we are in close consultation with them. They are investigating the crime. We have made a claim to our insurance. We have begun the process and finally have finished the process of determining what the loss was, and the loss was $55,000 of equipment. And again, that loss will be turned into our insurer P Corp. And when, as we are sure they will, the Pennsylvania State Police and Upper Nazareth Township Police catch and convict the perpetrators of this brazen burglary, we will seek restitution for the balance of the loss that the insurance will not cover. But I wanted to report that to you. I don't have many more details than that. As I've said, the police investigation is ongoing. They don't have many details to share with us now. So unfortunately, I don't have many answers to those questions at this time. Tonight on your agenda, maybe some good news amidst some mixed news, is you are going to consider our contract extension with our corrections officers. And we were very gratified to be able to agree to a 2-year extension with our corrections officers, 2.5% in the first year, a step in the second year without any increase in their medical benefits and no changes to the terms and conditions of work. So we're very grateful that they agreed with us that it was in their best interest and the county's best interest to move forward in this fashion. And I hope that you will unanimously approve this contract extension with our corrections officers. I want to take a moment to praise our corrections officers tonight. We are down to, in Northampton County Prison, only one CO who is quarantining now for a positive case of COVID-19. They're doing a terrific job wearing their masks. They have their N95s on all day long. They're insisting that the inmates keep their masks on. So they're doing our corrections officers are doing a great job protecting each other and protecting the inmates. And one of the things I've been talking about is not only do we need to wear our masks at work, but we need to wear them when we're not at work as well. And with that, I'm going to put mine back on, conclude my report. Oh, there's one other thing. No, there's one other thing. I'm sorry. And it's not a small thing. You have before you tonight the consideration of the appointment of Mrs. Kathleen Wedge to be the Director of Human Resources in Northampton County. She's currently, as you know, the acting director, and she has been the deputy director for more than 3 years now. Miss Wedge is incredibly competent, and the professional bond we formed when we first came into office, there were very few people here. As you'll recall, it took some time, for those of you who were here, it took some time for us to organize our government and get all of the appointed directors into office. But Miss Wedge, who was a deputy, didn't need confirmation. So she was here with me. Mr. Parsons was here with me, and Steve Barron would run across the street. He was still, he was finishing up his time as county controller before he was confirmed. And we were putting the government together. And at that time, I learned about the qualities and character that Mrs. Wedge has, and she'll be an excellent director of human resources for the county, and I hope you'll unanimously approve her. And with that, I conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. McClure? Mr. Myers?
My question is, where do we stand with the residents, or do we have a certain number, a point of how many we're going to have take the vaccine? Do we have an approximate number how many are still in line?
I know of Ms. Stewart King's here. She probably has a better sense than I do, but we have about 535 people living under that roof now. And just parenthetically, that's more people than I believe any other nursing home in Pennsylvania has living under their roof. That's a remarkable thing. So we anticipate that at the end of this process, nearly all of our residents will be vaccinated.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Cusick?
Yeah, thank you for your report. One of the issues that was discussed when council extended that $750 bonus was a time consideration. Given the slow pace of the rollout, has any consideration being given to putting a time limit where this bonus would potentially end?
Listen, the 750 incentive for the vaccination, is that what you're talking about, sir?
Yes.
Here's my view. I empathize with folks who are trepidatious about getting the vaccination in the first instance because of the novelty of it. The coronavirus is novel. These vaccines were developed very quickly, and it is rational for people to be concerned about the safety and efficacy of that. With that said, it is my understanding we're going to actually have 3 clinics with CVS. In 2 of those clinics, the one that we're half finished with, and the next one, you will still be able to get your first dose and then your second dose in that 3rd clinic. So what I would recommend is that we keep the $750 incentive for vaccinations in place through the 3 CVS clinics, because as people see other people not having terrible adverse effects from the vaccination, they may be further encouraged to go ahead and get vaccinated. And Mr. King, she's had her vaccination. She's doing pretty well. So we hope that inspires folks to get vaccinated as well. But I think we should keep it in place until that 3rd CVS clinic that we've arranged is finished, so that we don't cut ourselves off short of getting folks vaccinated and getting them that incentive before everyone's had the opportunity to have it the first time. But I would, Mr. Cusick, that will be the end of it. There's no more incentives after that. If you come in July and say, hey, I'm going to get it, you're out of luck.
Okay. Thank you. That sounds fair.
Thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Heckman, sorry.
Just a clarification, Mr. Executive. The 750 is for somebody who gets both. They don't get 750 for the first and then the second, do they?
That's correct. And the payments are split up.
Not like giving blood.
No, because it's one dose split into 2 parts. Correct? You'll
get. That's right.
one-
We're splitting the payments up, right? Yeah. Yeah. After you get, we're splitting the Pfizer payments up. So you get your first one, you get half. You get your second shot, you're going to get the whole shebang. Is that a
Mr.
technical
Inslee?
word, shebang?
Yeah. not that either of these groups would be eligible for an incentive, but are corrections and human services going to get their vaccinations anytime soon?
Well,
Are they-
so great question. We're working very hard to get corrections and human services their vaccinations as soon as we possibly can. They are technically in Group 1B. And so right now, the Director of Corrections, Mr. Castora and Mrs. Wondolowski, are going through their departments to see who it is that will be willing to volunteer to be vaccinated. And we will know that very soon. I'll know tomorrow or Monday who's willing to line up. And then we need to figure out where they're going to get it. Are they going to get it from a local hospital? Will they get it from a local health bureau? Where will the 1B folks be vaccinated? But we suspect in the very near term, they'll be eligible to get it. We're working on it every day.
And then after that, is there going to be some sort of massive vaccination location like Coca-Cola Park kind of thing where like the next rounds of people will be put through? Because I mean, I can't imagine that everybody's going to be able to go through like in the LVHM parking lot or even, you know, a random, like even Freedom High School parking lot where they distributed flu shots. Are there any plans in motion to do that so that we can hit the ground running?
The Pennsylvania Department of Health is working on those plans as we speak.
So it's in their hands, not in
It is. We have absolutely no control over. We don't even have any control over the CVS provisioning of the vaccine at Graysdale. That's all them.
Yeah, it's real annoying. People keep asking me when they could get their shots, and I don't know when I'm getting mine, so can't tell you.
You're way down. I've looked at the tires.
I did too.
It actually had your name in the CDC guidelines. It was toward the bottom. I think maybe because your name starts with a Z. I don't know.
No, there's like 250,000 people ahead of me. So I got it.
About 250 million people ahead of you.
Well, yeah, locally, I mean.
Oh.
Just anyway. Yeah, gotcha.
Mr. Myers, you have a question?
Yeah, we're talking corrections in the human services. What about the staff at the Juvenile Justice Center? Are they included on getting this shots? Because they're
yes, yes. They're in 1B.
Okay, I mean, because I heard one, but I didn't hear about those, and those guys are as important as anybody else.
They sure are. They're not under our jurisdiction administratively, but I'll get them a shot if I can.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Mr. McClure.
There is one issue that maybe you could discuss with Ms. Stewart King under new business. As you know, hazard pay expired at Graysdale on December 31st, and we may need to discuss reinstituting hazard pay at Graysdale, specifically for Tower 10, because of the nature of the residents who are there infected with COVID-19. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on with the agenda. Is there any other old business to discuss? Seeing none, hearing none. We have the consideration under new business of the collective bargaining unit extended agreement between County of Northampton and AFSCME District Council 88, Local 2549 resolution. Mr. McGee, will you please introduce this resolution?
Thank you. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved by Northampton County Council that the collective bargaining unit agreement between the Northampton County, Pennsylvania, and American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, District Council 88, Local number 2549, shall be extended as per the terms exhibited on Attachment A and approved this 7th day of January 2021.
Make a motion. You need a motion?
I don't believe I do.
Okay.
Ms. Zembo, do I need a motion? I don't, do I?
No, just call for the vote if there's no questions.
Are there any discussion on the matter? There's attached documentation.
Pardon me?
I'm just asking if there's any discussion.
Oh.
I see none. Okay, call for the vote.
Mr. McGee,
yes,
Mr. Giovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Heckman,
Yes.
Mr. Lot,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner,
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky,
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Adopted by a vote of 8-0.
Thank you. Number 2, we have consideration of a personnel request resolution from the Department of Human Resources. Mr. McGee.
thank you. Resolved by Northampton County Council that Kathleen Wedge shall be confirmed in her appointment as Director of the Department of Human Resources at pay grade Group 5, Step 2B, salary of $96,094, effective January 7th, 2021.
Okay, and I believe her resume was sent to us under separate cover. If anybody, is Ms. Wedge there in case anybody has any questions?
Yeah. Is she here?
That's a question.
Not
Well,
question.
I need to find out if she's here first.
Is Miss
She
Wedge
here?
here?
Yep, she's here.
Okay,
You
I
want to talk to
believe
her?
there may be some questions.
Okay, well, she's making her way up.
I see that. Thank you.
I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Mr. Myers, I believe you have a question.
As I looked at your resume, I don't see a lot of time in human services and human resources. What exactly experience do you have?
So I started out my career after college. I have my public and master's of public administration with a human resources emphasis. That's where I started my human resources career. I have experience within the nonprofit industry in human resources, as well as the corporate environment in human resources, and now 3 years of public administration human resources. The experience varies from a generalist, so day-to-day operations of benefits, employment matters, workers' compensation, FMLA, the monitoring of FMLA, employment matter disputes, grievances, union hearings. So, a vast majority of throughout the entire field.
Okay, to follow up on that, I also want to follow up on how much experience in negotiating contracts do you have?
So negotiating contracts specifically, I've been involved since I was appointed in 2018. So I've negotiated all of our county contracts. I was on the team of 5 for the county.
That takes care of my question.
Anyone else? Mr. Cusick?
Yeah, real quick, the initial scuttlebutt I had heard was this was some sort of a political patronage hire, but after reading your resume, I disagree. I think you're qualified for the position. I intend to support it. Thank you.
No, I turned it off. It's one of the county.
I'm sorry, is there background noise somewhere that we can mute? Thank
I
you.
think Aileen took care of it.
Thank you. Mr. Heckman?
Kathleen, I looked at your resume. I'm fine. I think it's a good resume. I mean, you've been doing this for a few years. I certainly plan on supporting you. The only question, observation maybe more than the question is, you have experience in the private sector and now you've had it in the public sector. And I know there are folks that disagree with me, but I know I've told your boss and others that having worked in both in management, I'll take the private sector over the public sector anyway. You know that you have numerous challenges, I'll just say warrens as a rabbit hole kind of thing to navigate. But have you noticed since you've taken over that in fact, it does take a unique set of tweaking of even existing skills to manage something? I mean, we're one of probably the second or third largest employer in the county, certainly Lehigh Valley. So I just wanted your thought, on that.
Absolutely. Every situation, every employee, every company is extremely different. And, you need to be dynamic and be able to tailor your knowledge and use your experience to kind of navigate through every different situation. It's really, it's not a black and white field to be in. There's really, a lot of different aspects you have to take into consideration for the entire department.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Ms. Wedge, what's the staffing like in your office right now?
Right now, I have here at the courthouse, there's 10 full-time employees. And at Graysdale, we have 4 full-time employees.
Okay. Thank you. I have no problem supporting your hire. I just wanted to ask, I guess we're going to be filling your deputy position, or is someone acting as deputy at this time also?
Currently, Danielle Mutarelli, who is our retirement specialist, is acting deputy director for the time being.
Okay, thank
And
you.
she's been doing a great job.
Mr. Myers.
You come back and fill that position in the future?
Can you repeat that?
Are you going to fill that position in the future as a deputy?
At this time, we're comfortable with having Danielle in that role. We'll definitely be looking at that in the next few months.
Okay, I will be supporting you. I like your resume, and you answered all my questions honestly. Thank you.
Lori, point of clarification.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kathleen, just so I'm clear, Danielle is currently career service, but she's subbing, or is she now exempt?
She's in the acting role, so she is appointed, but she has the eligibility to go back to her role at the end of her appointment.
I was going to say, I'm just going to put this out there, and even with you, I know in our life, those of us that have been around a long time, human services, I mean, human resources in the county can be tough because it's been seen sometimes as an enemy of, it gets all wild. I'm sure you experienced the good and the bad. But I just wanted to put a statement in for Danielle. Over the years, the retiree situation in HR has been an up and down affair, and sometimes very thin. She's done a great job. I think she's very persistent. Retirees I've talked to are very pleased with how things are handled now. And I'd hate to see her expertise and what she brings to the county go away if there's ever a change in administration. And that's just my personal feelings. I'm just having experienced different things. I think the stability she's brought for retirees is a welcome change. That's all.
I appreciate that, and I agree. And we want to do everything possible to keep her here in human resources.
I'm through.
Okay. Yes, Mr. McGee?
I just want to comment. I did look over the resume and I had some concerns, but not really, because we've been working together for 2 years and we've been doing a lot of lifting together. I mean, there's a lot of appointments that happened in the last 2 years and a lot of figuring out and a lot of new positions starting. And I know you're part of the process. So I'll be supporting you tonight, and good luck.
Thank you.
Go over a vote.
If there are no further questions, can we have the vote, please?
Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Heckman,
Yes.
Mr. Lott,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner,
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky,
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic,
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni,
Yes.
adopted by a vote of 8-0.
Congratulations, Ms. Wedge.
Congratulations and good luck.
Now you're stuck with all of us, dear.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Number 3, consideration of a resolution amending resolution number 143-2020. Mr. McGee, will you please read this resolution?
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to read the top part of it. It's short, but so everybody can understand what's going on here. It is hereby resolved by Northampton County Council that resolution number 143-2020 shall be amended as indicated hereafter. Sections marked with strikeouts have been deleted and sections marked with bold underlines have been added. Okay. Number 143-2020. It is hereby resolved by Northampton County Council that one full-time position of accountant 2, pay grade HS 38A-1A, salary of $49,920 shall be created in the Department of Human Services, Mental Health Division, effective January 1st, 2021. So moved.
So my understanding is this was just an error, that it was the incorrect amount, or?
Yeah, well, the difference is, to be clear, since not everybody has this in front of them, the difference is the categorization of the pay grade is HS, and the old pay grade was
Yes.
PS, and the salary was the old salary was 47,532, and this salary is 49,920.
Okay, is there any discussion? Let's call for the vote.
Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Lot,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner,
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky,
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic,
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Heckman,
Yes.
adopted by a vote of 8-0.
Okay, thank you. So, unfortunately, last minute, and I apologize for that, there is some new business that I'd like to bring up, to begin the discussion of possibility of hazard pay and a formula for hazard pay for Graysdale employees. Let's see. Hold on, I'm sorry. You said Miss Stewart King is here. Maybe she could come and begin the presentation and discussion before we create a
I
motion,
need a
or,
second if you're making a motion.
I'll second.
Tara seconded if you need it.
okay.
Lori,
I'd like to open
can I ask
the,
Ms. King a question?
does everybody have the document that was sent out?
Yeah, it was sent out to us.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question, Ms. King, while she's there, before you get into that?
Yeah, well, that's the point of opening the discussion, unless she wants to make some opening remarks. Would you like to make some remarks?
No, other than just to say that the staff do deserve it. And I think what you'll find on the letter is something that we need to do.
Okay. Well, I got a question for you. Just dealing with the vaccine, what's your projection that you think your residents are going to take? 80, 90%?
In the 90 percentile.
That's outstanding. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Rinsky, I apologize.
Okay, I want to know first, was this negotiated with the union, and does it have to be? And how can you call this hazard pay? I mean, we're not necessarily in an emergency anymore. And my concern is that if you call this hazard pay, the other entities like corrections and human services are going to ask where their hazard pay is too. I mean, this is little more than just an incentive, right?
Right. So this is hazard pay is a management's prerogative and is not subject to negotiations with the union.
It's not in their contract?
No.
To have this contingency to say that you have to do X, Y, Z, or you don't get hazard pay?
No.
Mr. Cusick?
I'd like to make a point of clarification here. I heard a motion in a second, but I didn't hear anything introduced. I do have it open here on my computer, and for the folks or anyone at home that's watching, I think it needs to be specified what exactly we're discussing here.
Sure, I apologize for that.
Yeah.
Again, I had to wait
So-
to pull it up on my computer.
Okay, so I have it open and I'll just.
Would you like to read it? Thank
briefly.
you.
Yes. It says hazard pay is a management prerogative and is not subject to negotiation. 30% hazard pay will be provided to all employees working anytime on Tower 10. All Graysdale employees are eligible for 20% hazard pay if they do both of the following. Number one, work one extra shift, 1 8-hour shift or 2 4-hour shifts per week in nursing, and 2, do not call off during the same week. If numbers 1 and 2 are met, the employee will receive 20% hazard pay for all time worked in that week. Nursing shift, anyone in an ancillary department who is a licensed CNA must work 1 CNA shift in addition to their regular job. Anyone in an ancillary department not licensed as a CNA may work an extra shift on a resident floor doing tasks including but not limited to passing water, answering phones, putting laundry away, etc., in addition to their regular job. So I thought it was important that the folks that are watching this know what exactly is being discussed.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Sure. And that being said, I understand the incentivization here, but I will not be supportive of this unless there is some time limit, say 60 days or something to that effect. Because I remember when we did the incentive for the vaccine, I think there needs to be a time limit put on this, and then council can revisit it maybe in 60 days. Because making this open-ended will just put us in a bad spot. So that would be my suggestion.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lott.
Yes, thank you, and I do like the ads, and I hope we can use those to recruit. So I see them every morning. These are ads to recruit for employees at Graysdale on, usually I see them on 69 News. So that's excellent, and I think it's a very good ad. My question is kind of with Ms. Durinsky, this money is only to be, is this the CARES Act money that can
Yes.
only be used at Graysdale for infection control? So that's why there is no money, we have no money like that for corrections or human service. This has been by the federal government designated to Graysdale. I also think it's a good idea to put on some restrictions on this. When I ran the union I ran, we would sometimes work 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. I thought it was extremely unfair to an employer when my guys would work Saturday and Sunday and then take off Monday. It defeated the whole purpose of the idea of a, now there was situations in construction where they didn't care. They needed you and they needed you. But when we when we got a schedule that was more times, you had to work your 40. It wasn't in the contract, but it was understood by our contractors and our union that if the guy didn't work 40, he doesn't get invited in on the weekend. So I think it just makes sense. We don't want to pay people extra so they can stay home more. We have a problem with issue with absentee there. So I was very concerned and really didn't want to give, or very concerned that giving more money to employees is only going to increase our absenteeism. In other words, hey, I'm making it in 4 days. Now I'm taking my 5th day off. We can't have that. We need our employees to show up. So I really like your solution to this, and I will be supporting it. I also think John has a very good point. We probably should put an end date on this thing, not just kind of let it run. We can revisit it in 2 months or whatever date, 3 months. I would like it a little shorter myself. I think it's well worth having a conversation in a month or two, and see where we're at. Thank you. I will support it this time.
Mr. Heckman?
Yeah, I in general agreement with Mr. Lott and Mr. Kusick. I just wanted a clarification from Jen. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we've gotten a lot of dates on different CARES Act. is this money to be spent by June in one fashion or another at Graysdale? Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, and I guess then this would go to you or to the county executive. The CARES Act funding that's remaining, would that be enough if this happened to go through, and hopefully things clear up before June, but is there enough money in there? You feel comfortable? I forget what the balance is at this particular point in time of that CARES Act funding stream.
It's about $4 million. And we are finalizing for February, the end of February, our oh my God, lost revenue. So
Yeah,
we'll have a calculation of that by the end of February.
Because I know the 4 million then can be used for many things out at Graysdale. And part of me, correct me if I'm wrong, if we get into an issue where, let's say, we need more vaccine, or we were charged or whatever, that money could then be going towards that as well, correct?
We will not be charged for any vaccines.
Well, we don't get charged for anything.
None.
All right, I just want to be clear. All right, well, thank you. I just wanted to clarify the amount and the time frame, and that, yeah, this is CARES Act money. So, all right, have you well, you can't, because you don't know who's going to get it. So you can't really project out what this might cost over X amount of time.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine.
You can project how many shifts you are going to have and how many you need and how many are filled. So at least on a week-to-week basis, you might be able to do that. I mean, except for call-offs. I mean, you have to have some idea, I think. I mean, you could have some idea.
We could certainly look back and see how many shifts people picked up before.
How much COVID money do you have left?
Approximately 4 million.
So you're just going to keep coming to us with like ways that you can spend this, aren't you?
Well, I would think that we don't want to send it back.
No. But I mean, you're just trying to figure out ways that you can get this money out. I'm not disagreeing with this. I think that this came to us, at least it came to me a little later in the day, and it wasn't necessarily in the form of a resolution. So I wasn't quite sure where this money was coming from. I thank Mr. Lott for clarifying that. And now that we're discussing this seems a lot more plausible. I know that in the incentivization of the vaccine, that there was some pushback from the public on giving that to just them, to just a Graysdale employees, and that not everybody understands that this comes from a specific pot of money designated to Graysdale, that the human services and corrections and the other parts of our county don't necessarily have access to. And that's why you're incentivizing all these different ways. So I think maybe a more clear discussion of that for public benefit is important. You know what I mean? Because people don't really understand why we're doing these things and how this money, how you have this money and other people don't have this money. I'm just trying to articulate that point and make it clear for the public so that they understand too.
Right, that this was money designated to nursing homes, and we're not the only one who received it. It was across the country, and to use for purposes of preventing infectious control.
I have one more question, and I'm sorry to take up so much, but I think I clearly heard Executive McClure say that we have 530 population census now. Is that correct?
Yes, approximately.
That's very much lower than we have had before. Is that intentional so that we can keep that spacing between people, safe distancing? Or is there just not as many people coming through nursing homes right now? Like,
so
what is that? What is that from?
Okay, so we had to take 50 beds from Tower 10 because that's our isolation unit. So that's 50 beds right off the top of the numbers. Then we closed a unit, which was Tower 7. So that's 100 beds right off that are 10 is transitional, 7 is not going to be filled. We're actually looking at another unit to consolidate. So that, taking that off, I have the referrals to build up census, but I need the staff in order to do that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I know that we heard about moving around people and consolidating before. And that was something that the public, at least the people who spoke, were a little disgruntled about, because their loved one gets moved and they might not be with the same people. And so I just wanted to have a feeling of where we were at with the census, and you know, why we're there and what we're doing about it. So obviously I saw all the ways that you're trying to get staff and recruit, and I applaud you for that. I did look at some other things in terms of your incentives that you're offering, and I think you're doing a great job, and thank you for everybody who works at Graysdale, because you guys are really just pushing a rock up a hill. It's a monumental task that you have on your plate. So good on you. I will be supporting this.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I think Mr. Myers had his hand up before and I missed him. I apologize.
Don't worry about it. A lot of questions that I had wanted to ask have already been answered, and I just applaud the fact that we're doing this the correct way. And if she has to carry money, she got to use it.
Mr. Giovanni and then Mr. Cusick.
Okay, so then from my understanding, Mrs. Stark King, the timeline would be end at June 1st for this hazard pay, the way it sounds. for the
Correct. That's when the CARES money will go away, correct.
Right, so the end line would be June 1st, or the in June. Okay.
Mr. Cusick?
Yeah, I would like to put something in the form of a motion for an amendment to put a time limit. And Mr. Giovanni raised June 1st. So what I'd like to do is make a motion that we add to this the following. This provision shall expire on June 1st, 2021. That's it. Do I have a?
I'll second that.
Can I ask for just a point of order from Mr. Spadoni? That we don't have a formal resolution here and we just have a motion. So do we have to, can we just accept it as it is, or do we have to put it in some kind of form of resolution? You have no sound.
Chris, unmute yourself.
Chris, on your phone,
Can you hear me now?
*6.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry.
I hate to see us do all this amending if we have to do something different, so.
I would tell you that Mr. Cusick's amendment is valid as stands. You should vote on the amendment first, and then you should vote on the resolution as amended.
All right, but it's not in the, my point is, it's not in the form of a resolution. We just got we got it to as a discussion item. So do we need to write up a resolution or no?
No, he can add it on to the end of the resolution. Linda can do that now.
Thank you.
It was one sentence,
So-
right, Mr. Cusick?
Yes.
Thank you. So then let us do that. Let's vote, if there's no more discussion on the time limit, let's vote
Lori.
on that. Yes,
Lori, I have a point. So now this is just going to be the motion, and then we're amending the motion, then we're going to vote on the motion, correct?
this is the motion to amend to the time, and to add the timeline.
To the motion.
Yes,
Okay.
we're voting on the amendment that
Yes.
states, if I got it right, to add, this shall expire on June 1st, 2020, correct?
2021.
Oh, thank you.
We're in 2020.
Then we wouldn't need to do it. Oh, well.
Ms. Hefner,
Does that need to be seconded?
point of order, Ms.
Wait,
Hefner.
wait.
Point of order.
Yes,
Just so Mr. Spadoni is clear with what Mrs. Umbo said, there is no real resolution. This is in the form of a motion, and Mr. Cusick wants to amend the motion. So I just
That is
want,
correct.
okay, and you all right, so there, I just wanted to clarify because we were mixing motion and resolution.
I'm
okay.
sorry I wasn't clear. This is an amendment for the resolution, correct?
There is no resolution.
For the motion.
For the motion.
The amendment to the motion, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, and yes, there's already been a second. Thank you. Let's call for the vote, please, on the amendment.
Lori, who
Miss-
second?
Tara seconded.
Okay.
Mr. Kuzic,
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yeah.
Ms. Fargo Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Heckman,
Yes.
Mr. Lot,
Yes.
Mr. McGee.
Yes.
Passes by a vote of 8-0.
Okay, and if there's no further discussion, let's vote on the entire motion as amended.
Ms. Fargo Hefner,
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky,
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic,
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Heckman,
Aye.
Mr. Lot.
Yes.
Passes by a vote of 8-0.
Good God.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other new business to discuss?
Just wanted to thank Jen.
Thank you. And I wanted to wish you all a happy new year and congratulations to Lori, Vargo Hefner, and Mr. McGee on their new positions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for all you and your staff do. We really appreciate them.
Thank you,
Thank
Jen.
you.
Yes.
All right, if there is no new business, do we have any council committee reports? I've received most of your requests and I will be finishing that hopefully by the beginning of next week. Thank you for responding so promptly. Any liaison reports? Mr. Giovanni?
Yes, IT governance had a meeting. I missed it because of other things I was involved in, but I do know that they discussed phone technology out at the Forensic Center, their updates and refreshes on their software, and the service desk did 43 PC refreshes in December. And
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
I would like to say to Mr. Giovanni at your next meeting, would you please pass on the praise for Will? He's been helping us with computer issues and he's like so good. He speaks English.
Oh, wow.
Well noted. I will do that.
I think what you mean is he does not live in IT speak. I think. that
Right,
needs to be
right,
corrected.
exactly.
Great.
I've dealt with IT folks for many years and ways, and sometimes it can get like, no offense, but I mean, patches of this and plugs of that. He just comes in and it's like, hey, help me. It's like, okay, great. Boom, boom, boom. So I appreciate it. And I would just like to pass on that praise. I mean, I think he's doing a great job for council. That's my opinion.
Okay, and his
Thank
name
you.
is Will, am I right? Am I
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Yes.
Okay,
Well deserved.
we'll
Thank
do
you.
that.
Mr. Rinsky, you had your hand up. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I went to a farmland preservation meeting Tuesday. And this year we have 14 farms on that have applied. Altogether, there are 214 farms in Northampton County that have been preserved, and that's 17,449 acres. We have $1.5 million coming in from the state. We have $3 million budget, and we are actually going to open up and extend the applications for 2021 because we only got 14. This is a big thing because we need more farms to be preserved. And what some of the other things that I found out is that we actually pay 100% of the appraisal rate, not like other counties do. So we're paying top dollar for farmland preservation here, and we need more farms preserved. The other thing that they requested was that farmland preservation would like a meeting space. There's a conference room that's ADA accessible that has been under construction in the Greystone building. And there was some sort of agreement that it would be rebuilt before COVID, but it is not done. They would like the timeline on that. And I was requested to ask Charles Dertinger or Mr. Dertinger about that. If he can tell me what the timeline is on that so that I can relay that to them, that would be awesome.
I don't hear him answering.
He can do it at another time then. I have a phone and so does he. And we'll do it that way, okay?
I have a question for you on that. Is there, with the open extended for applications, is there a deadline that people need to be aware of, or?
Well, we just voted to open them up and we're gonna open them up till March. The usual deadline was December 15th, but we are going to open it up until March. I imagine it's March 1st. But they could get all the information from Maria Bensoni or on the website for farmland preservation. It's not an extensive application, although the process is a little bit of a to-do with the appraisal and everything else that we go through.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else from anyone else? Mr. Myers?
Just two things. I know we had mentioned it before we started. If it's possible that we can get, because Kara had mentioned it, we get the folks from IT to actually put up the agenda so it can actually be seen as if we're going to continue with these Zoom meetings in the future. And the other thing is, I want to praise the fact that, I've been spending a lot of time in Sleep Belt lately, last few weeks, and I have seen farm preservation signs all over the place, and it's an outstanding thing to see our name spread all over the Cali up there.
They're beautiful signs too.
Absolutely. But I was just like, wow, look at this,
Gary, I'll send Bob Mace an email today.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mr. Heckman?
I just wondered, just to point it, does somebody have their hand up, like a number that's showing up on my screen? I see a hand raised, one of those little hand icons.
That's my phone. I apologize. My computer's on the fritz. You're on the phone as well.
Okay, Chris.
Chris is having a bad IT day. Let's just be nice.
I would echo your comments. I spoke to the IT guy for 20 minutes before the meeting. He was speaking English and he was very helpful.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness. County clerk report? Linda?
Nothing.
Thank you. And Mr. Spadoni, anything to report from county solicitor?
Other than other than our former chairman recognizing the hand, it appears to be a white hand. I suggest it should be a black hand, but I have no report. Thank you.
Oh, dear Jesus.
I will meet him later.
There you go. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion.
Oh, let's make that one.
I see Mr. McGee's hand for a second. All in favor by acclamation?
Aye.
Aye.